Transformers The Last Night is widely considered to be one of the worst things to come out of the entire Transformers franchise. And honestly, that makes sense. It's not a very good movie, but I love it. I think it was the first Michael Bay movie to accomplish its goal of being a dumb, fun action movie instead of just annoying me or boring me all the time. But I do unironically think that the Last Night's interpretation of Megatron is a really interesting character, and I would go as far to say that it's the best version of Megatron in a movie, a live-action movie. Now let me go ahead and say the obvious. This version of Megatron is not as good as D16 from Transformers 1 or IDW Megatron, but I do think it's a pretty good version of the character, and I think it easily outclasses stuff like Armada, for example. And it all comes down to two major points that I think makes it really good, honestly. The first thing it does really well is it gives Megatron a pretty interesting and fun motivation. Megatron being just a two-dimensional evil dictator isn't horrible, but it's not good by any means. I think Megatron is always best whenever he has some complexity to him, and Megatron's motivation going from get the Allspark and kill Optimus Prime to get home is one of the most interesting choices I think they could have made with his character, outside of just adapting the IDW comics. And obviously in the Michael Bay movies, Cybertron is destroyed, so he just kind of seems like an idiot, but the movies are barely connected to each other. I really think that Cybertron isn't destroyed in The Last Night, even though it absolutely was in literally all of the other movies. And the second thing I think it does well is Megatron's crew. Bring me my crew! Give me names! Mohawk, Dreadbot, Nitro Zeus. I could quote the entire scene, but I'm gonna cut myself short. And also I didn't include each of the characters' little quotes. So really, I'm sparing you from me going over the entirety of the Megatron's crew scene, which I deeply love. That scene's awesome, in my opinion. And of course, by awesome, I mean stupid, but in, like, a fun way, so I don't mind. But anyways, I think an interesting Megatron is created by giving him an interesting group of Decepticons, and quick, tell me personality traits about any of the Decepticons in any of the previous movies. No, Jetfire doesn't count. He defected, like, literally right after he met him. And you can't. You probably can't think of any personality traits for any of the Decepticons. Starscream isn't even that betrayal happy in the Michael Bay movies. He tries to betray him at the end of the first movie, and never again. And comparing that to Megatron's crew is like night and day. Mohawk is very funny, in my opinion. Honestly, Tom Kenny gives his best performance in any of the Michael Bay movies with Mohawk, which isn't saying much whenever his roles consist of wheelie and racist number 2. But still, it's something they do. And Nitro Zeus, I think, is very fun. He's this gangster robot who looks like Shockwave, and he's nice to Enrique and the rest of the guards. That's great. I love him. And John DiMaggio absolutely eats with his role in portrayal of Nitro Zeus. And another thing I think Megatron's crew does to make him a more interesting character in The Last Night is he chose to go to the government and negotiate with them to get his Megatron's crew out of prison. And I've seen people say that makes him kind of a weak character, that he could just bust them out himself. But to me, that makes him a more interesting character. He could probably just bust them out himself. But, like, he doesn't want his crew to get injured in the process, so he's willing to work with the government to get them out. And if that doesn't make him a more interesting character, I don't know what does. All things considered, I kind of think The Last Knight has the most human and three-dimensional version of Megatron we've seen outside of the IDW comics and D16 from Transformers 1.